I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Yokah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all Akim who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, so I was in Salakia. I've been sick. I've had some little flu-like symptoms or whatever you want to call it last couple of days. So I've been down for a couple of days in the bed, and I haven't done videos. So I haven't been feeding the flock for these last couple of days. And like I say, Salakia, the Lord brought me back to life. I was feeling pretty bad. Summer flu was no joke for a couple of days there. I've been down. So anyway, back on the grind, here to do this lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And I was reading Esther, the first chapter, and I didn't really know what I was going to do a lesson on. I started reading Esther, and then right away, boom, the spirit jumped on me, and it's this first chapter of Esther. It's really going into these women, right? And we're going to read the account here in chapter 1 about King Ahasuerus and his queen at the time was Queen Vashti. All right, and just to summarize the chapter, because I'm going to read it, but a quick summary it shows you even these heathen, had order and displayed some type of wisdom when it came to their women. Because now you have this wicked ass place, Babylon, which is such a wicked place, because all the heathen nations were wicked, right? But this place, Babylon, takes the cake. Because in this story I'm about to read, it shows you an example of a woman who's rebellious, and it gets nipped in the bud, right? Her rebelliousness. And why is that? So she can't influence all the other women in that kingdom. But here in America, Babylon, it's the total opposite. They set up our women, and they use Jake women in the entertainment industry, because the wicked elite, they know they're crafty, right? They get together in crafty council. They use the Israelite women to go out and personify these, whore-like personalities, rebellious and everything else, So it causes our women who look up to these women who are in the music industry or these entertainment industry, and then that makes our women become rebellious and our women become degenerates, because they're learning from their influences are these wicked ass celebrities, right? So this is a good example showing you in the book of Esther, even the heathen, which we're reading about, this is during the Persian Media captivity. But even the Persians king had the sense to nip that rebellious woman in the bud, not let her have any slack. All right, so let's read the chapter, and we'll pull precepts as we go. It says, "Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even to Ethiopia, over 127 provinces." So, a province is like a state, right? It's another word for state. So these ancient kingdoms were very vast, large kingdoms, man. So 120 provinces, 127, that's like 127 states. Babylon only has 50 states. So you see, these ancient kingdoms were massive, some of these ancient kingdoms. Verse 2, "That in those days when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the 3rd year his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days, So they basically partied for a year and a half, or half the year, you know. So let's keep reading. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace. All right, so he had a big ass festival, which, rich and poor was invited. Verse 6. Where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings, and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black and marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. So they had a big ass feast, a big ass party on a high end, upper class, right? Verse 8. And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. So this Queen Vashti, she was a baddie, right? As we call them today, right? Beautiful woman. She was very beautiful to look at. She was a 10, if you will. Verse 12. But the Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. So her, she was this beautiful, badass bitch, right? This queen. And she got to her head. She wasn't even listening to the king's commandment at this point, right? Verse 13, Then the king said to the wise men which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew the law and judgment. And next unto him was Karshena, Shethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Mamukan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. So they saw how pissed off he was because she didn't want to, he was trying to show her off basically, right? Like a trophy wife, and she rejected, which that was a very, you can imagine that he's a king and your woman's not, she's not doing what she's supposed, her duty. So he was pissed off, right? Let's keep reading. And remember, queen, it means whore. When you go into the etymology of that word queen, it means whore. That's why we call our daughters princesses, right? We don't call them queens. Verse 17, for this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women. And this is them using, even though they were heathen, they were using some wisdom here, in this little council that they took among each other after the Queen Vashti had basically became very rebellious by not showing up when the king had called on her, to show the people her beauty, and she didn't show up. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes, when it shall be reported. See, so these guys, they didn't want this to go. They didn't want it to be reported. They didn't want it to be broadcasted. They didn't want it to be declared in their kingdom what the queen had her rebelliousness, how she didn't show up, to honor the king. So they used wisdom. They're like, hey, we can't have this shit go public, and all these women are going to be getting out of control and not respecting their husbands. You see, and this is actually the right mindset, right? You want to nip this kind of wickedness in the bud, because hey, when you have these women and she's the queen, right? She's the king's woman. when she's being a rebel on that level, then how much more of the peasant women, all the women in subject, in the kingdom, they're going to be just like her, rebellious to their husbands. And that's why you see here in Babylon now, man, you have women are rebellious to their husbands, right? And nobody says shit. Nobody bats an eye, right? Because everybody's used to it, letting these women rule over them, right? Letting these women have their way. That's why these women are at ease right now, right? So these men, they took counsel. They're like, hey, we can't let this be declared. We don't want this to be reported. What this queen did was wicked, right? She made the king look stupid. She didn't show him no respect. She didn't show him no honor, no reverence, right? This is in Isaiah. So they nipped it in the bud, man. They didn't go around, trying to make her, publicly known that she was being a rebellious queen, and she didn't do what the king told her. But here in Babylon, they set up our women to be rebellious. They set up our women to be bad influences on our women, and that's why you have what you have now. You have all these women here in Babylon are destroyed in the mind, man. You really don't, and I'm being sincere when I say this to brothers out there, you really don't want a woman in this kingdom, man. Their mindset is all fucked up. You're gonna have to lower yourself just to deal with these women for a moment in this kingdom, man. You're gonna have to really lower yourself to fuck with some of these women, man. And really, most of these women, the majority of them, okay? Isaiah 3:12, it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths. All right? So that's what it is, man. You have these women, they ruling over their husbands, and that's not the proper order. We know that there's order with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? And the order is Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, the husband, and then the woman, the wife. So that's the correct order. Not anything out of that, outside that order, or in a different order. Then it's wrong. You have to keep order to keep decency, right? Because if you go outside the order, hey, everything goes to hell, and that's facts. Okay, Esther 1:18 or 17. Let me read it again. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Right, so she was a rebellious woman. He asked her to come before him, and she didn't come. So then what's going to happen if this is declared throughout the kingdom? Then all the women are going to start, oh, well, Vashti, the Queen Vashti didn't do it. Why do I have to do it, that's how these women work, man. They watch these rebellious women, and then the next thing you know, they're acting just like these rebellious women in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. Like, I'll give you an example. This is just one example. To hear, because I've heard, I've been around these degenerate women, and one of the things that these bitches be saying nowadays, and I don't know, you get around some of these younger women, I'm saying, 35 and under, and they're all fucked up in their head, destroyed mentally, physically, just spiritually, they're destroyed. But one of the things I heard is, I've heard these women say the term, suck my dick, like if they have a dick, which that's a fucking wicked ass thing for a woman to say. And if you're a man in your right mind, I mean, that's a big ass turnoff, right? You hear a woman tell you to, suck my dick, or these hoes can suck my dick, and this is a term that I've heard, on more than one occasion. I've heard women say this, and then, to get hyped up for this lesson, I just was like, because first thing I thought of was Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, what's her other name, Nicki Minaj, all these women they used to degenerate the minds of our women. And I played a video And shit, I don't even know what the name of the song was, but it was with Cardi B and Offset, which I believe that's her husband. But in that video, she says that phrase, "suck my dick," right? And this is a woman saying this. Cardi B is a woman, and so it made sense. I said, "Oh, this is where these hoes get this, the audacity to say that, and they're women out here telling people to suck their dicks, right?" So the point being is, the reason why they're saying it is because they got influenced by fucking Cardi B saying it on a song. So what do you think that right here with Queen Vashti in this first chapter? It's the same shit, man. They didn't want the rebelliousness of Queen Vashti being declared and known and reported to all the other women in the kingdom, because monkey see, monkey do, right? Let me read verse 17 again. "For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husband in their eyes. And when it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not." See, and Esau's crafty, and he knows how women work. He knows they're going to go off the bullshit influencers that they see on the social media, the movies, the music. So that's why he designs all this shit by his craftiness, right? And he knows exactly what he's doing. He's putting our woman way out of fucking order. And nowadays, you'd be a fool to go pull one of these hoes from one of these bars or these clubs and think you're going to have a fucking a wife or a serious relationship, man. These women that's just one small level where they're out of order. And these women are bragging about body counts. These women are bragging about basically being, they've taken on the mindset of a man in these last days. All right? So let's keep reading. Verse 18. "Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard the deed of the queen, thus shall arise too much contempt and wrath." Right, so these men, at least they had the wisdom, like I said, to nip it in the bud, right? They were like, no, we ain't gonna, these women are gonna, if they hear what the queen did, they're gonna start acting rebellious like the fucking Queen Vashti, you see? So they were like, no, we ain't gonna move forward with this. We ain't gonna tell nobody about this, because they knew how these women are followers, and if there's, they see the queen acting up, next thing you know, all the women are going to be acting up in the kingdom. Verse 19, "If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate to another that is better than she." So see, they count these men, even though they're heathens. They got together, they put their heads together, they said, hey, we gotta get rid of this bitch. We need to replace her for her rebelliousness. She got replaced, right? And that's wise, that's wisdom. In Babylon, they would have kept Queen Vashti in this place, because there's no wisdom in this place. And they would allow all the women, just like they do now, to become degenerates and running around telling men to suck their dick. Being a woman saying that shit. You see what I'm saying? Let's keep reading. Verse 20. "And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small." Right, so they were they were making an example out of this Queen Vashti. Because like I said, they were displaying wisdom, even though they were heathen. But guess what? They nipped it in the bud. They weren't like, oh, we're gonna let Queen Vashti get away with this rebelliousness. She's gonna keep being the queen. No, they took her out of her seat. She got dethroned, basically. And it was made as an example, and the women weren't gonna be influenced by no fucking wicked ass queen that's not honoring her husband. Verse 21, "And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters unto all the king provinces, and to every province according to the writing thereof, to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. And there you go. So they had that woman being rebellious, and then she lost her place. She lost her seat. She was no longer the queen because of her rebelliousness, right? And again, these were heathen, and some of them may have been some of those wise men that they gathered together for counsel. They could have been Israelites who were scattered in Media Persia, but Memucan, maybe he was the one who was an Israelite who advised the king basically to get rid of the queen, right? He could have been an Israelite. I don't know, doesn't say here, but he could have been a scattered Israelite. But nonetheless, this was wisdom in these men getting together, and like I said, I keep saying it, nipping in the bud, stopping it in its tracks, this rebelliousness of these women, right? And they said, hey, we're going to get these men, every man is going to rule his house. You ain't going to have no rebellious woman ruling the house, all right? And that's the way it should be. That's the proper order, all right? So, like I said, I was sick for a while, a couple days. I didn't do a video for a couple days, since Tuesday. And I'm feeling better now, still a little bit under the weather, but I'm getting my energy back and whatnot. But like I said, I was reading Esther, the first chapter, and immediately this was the the topic that came to mind. So I ran with it. So I hope the lesson was edifying. And I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the other apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect.